For 50 years after the Supreme Court decided Roe v. Wade, Republicans said abortion should be decided by the people, not by a judge. So today, we are fulfilling that request. Senate Resolution 84 gives the people the chance to decide. Let's put the issue where it belongs, on the ballot.
Senate Democrats introducing S.R. 84 in a push for a constitutional amendment on the ballot to let voters decide on abortion access in Georgia. Good evening and welcome to Day 12 of the Georgia legislative session. I'm Donna Lowry in Atlanta. We'll have more on the press conference by Senate Democrats in a moment. On the show, we will be introducing you to some of the new crop of legislators in the General Assembly this year. There are 22 freshmen, and they come from a variety of backgrounds, bringing fresh ideas, passion, and enthusiasm to the Gold Dome. We'll learn a little about them. For instance, one of them made an appearance on Sesame Street, and another was on HGTV. First, it's time to go to the Capitol for our correspondent, Sarah Callis, and her wrap-up of today's news under the Gold Dome.
Hi, Donna. Today at the Capitol, another cultural celebration and a protest against President Trump. The day kicked off with another Latino celebration, this time outside the Capitol at Liberty Plaza. Advocacy groups and lawmakers celebrated contributions from the Latin American community in Georgia and used the opportunity to condemn President Trump's immigration policy.
Despite the fact that this president has attempted to divide us and to drive up fear and has caused pain in our community will continue to thrive. And despite the fact that Republican leaders continue to refuse to expand Medicaid, to make housing more affordable, and to help small business owners across this state, our community will continue to thrive. But the only way we do that is by working together.
Is there a doctor in the House? Yes, there are, and quite a few in the Senate as well.
Here today relating to Physicians Day here at the Capitol. Thank you so much. We have over 250 physicians today, and if you listened at all to the proclamation, is that we have 27,000 physicians in the state of Georgia. So we have almost 1% of all the physicians here at this Capitol today.
That's a lot of docs. The Georgia Hospital Association was also here, representing 26 different hospitals. Also in the Senate, some blowback about the tariffs battle between the U.S. and China. Small business owners around the Savannah area told one senator about the disruptions caused when they could no longer get materials from China.
Last night, they received notification that there would be a suspension of all inbound parcels from China and Hong Kong. There was no advance notification that their products would be delayed. They have taken orders. I have a bridal business that basically had to email clients this morning that she was going to have to delay their wedding dresses because she will not receive the materials in time to complete the job. Now, this may not seem like a big issue to y'all, but this is about small business. And you can't plan and run a business when you don't know what is about to happen next.
But it was another day without any bills making it to the floor. In the House, members okayed a slew of bills on the local calendar. The bills, which applied specifically to certain counties, range from homestead tax exemption to rules for running for some local offices. Outside of the Capitol, anti-Trump protests took place. Demonstrators said they were gathered to protest Trump's policies and his cabinet appointees.
I've never done it before because I'm just fired up about the things that Trump is doing to our country. It's just so unfair. Not giving aid to the immigrants that are here. It's just disgusting.
Later in the day, Senate Democrats announced a new measure, S.R. 84, to create a ballot referendum allowing voters to decide on abortion access.
One of the most common questions I hear from constituents is, why can't we vote to protect abortion rights like other states have? And the answer is simple but frustrating. Georgia's Constitution doesn't allow for direct ballot initiatives. But that doesn't mean Georgia voters don't deserve a say. Poll after poll shows the majority of Georgians oppose the state's extreme 6-week abortion ban. Yet because of gerrymandered safe districts, too many elected officials, like our colleagues on the other side of the aisle, they can ignore the will of the people without any consequence. That's why we are fighting for SR 84, a constitutional amendment that would protect abortion access up to fetal viability as determined by doctors in each individual case.
Tomorrow, the Senate will vote on a bill to ban transgender girls from girls' sports. That's my Capitol Report. Back to you, Donna.
Thanks, Sarah. Roughly 9% of the legislators at the Capitol this year are rookies in the General Assembly. There are 22 members of the 2025 legislative class, 15 Democrats and 7 Republicans. By chamber, there are 18 newbies in the House and 4 in the Senate. Among the new senators is Drew Eccles of Gainesville, and I spoke with him earlier today. I started by asking him about his backstory.
Well, I'm a fifth-generation farmer from Hall County, Georgia, just north of Gainesville. Married, I have 2 children. Been in the ag world for a long time, all my life, and just kind of intrigued by policy and things like that. So here I am.
I know a lot of people will know about Jamar Farms. Is it your daughter who does those commercials?
Yes, that was kind of shameful, I guess. When a few years ago, former Senator Butch Miller told me, he said, you may want to think about putting that young lady right there on those commercials. He said she's good, and she's a lot smarter and better looking than her dad. So she's a good voice for the operation.
I like also the fact that your wife was down here for 2 years and you kind of switched places here.
Yes, ma'am. We have a son. Our son Cohen, he has Down syndrome, and I'm a farmer, and I try to be a good dad. What I am not is mom, and I thought I could be a good legislator, a good senator. So she decided not to run, and I ran and was fortunate enough to win to represent our district.
You obviously both care about the state, and so tell us about the kind of things you hope to see down here, your priorities.
Well, the state of Georgia and the 49th have given me and my family so much, and just want to give back and serve is the main thing. I'm very passionate again about agriculture and those policies, and in particular this year with Hurricane Helene, we need to try to make sure these farmers are made whole. It's a big deal. It's a generational issue, and also the tort reform bill that's come up. That's going to be a big deal over the course of this session. For small businesses all across the state of Georgia, we need a level playing field, and right now the judicial deck is stacked against us, and we feel like we need some reform. It's a matter of the bottom line, really, that anything, if it's peaches that I grow on my farm, or we have a bakery, and then just down the street there's metal fabricators that have a little in an industrial park. Every product that we make and sell in the state of Georgia, there's a price associated with insurance, the price of our insurance, and then in effect, basically that's because of the tort laws in the state of Georgia, that insurance companies, insurance providers are leaving this state. There's not as many options out there. It's purely a supply and demand thing.
What's one small thing about you that people may not know?
Well, a couple years ago, I was called by Sesame Street. They were looking for a green bean farmer, and to be on one of their episodes. I was fortunate enough to get to star on an episode of Sesame Street that aired on GPTV. So,
oh boy, oh boy, oh boy! Here we are at the string bean farm. Hello, Farmer Drew. We need string beans to make grassy-looking dog treats. Can you help us, please?
hello, Cookie Monster and Gonger. Welcome to the string bean farm. Sure, I can help you. We've got lots of string beans. That was exciting, and unfortunately, I didn't get to meet the characters out in the field. They had it on a green screen, so I'm out here talking to myself. But I used to do that when I was a little kid, so I could roll with it.
Do you know in the end who they put you with? Which characters did you talk to?
Cookie Monster and Gonger.
Cookie Monster's my favorite.
Absolutely. We share a lot of common interest.
Love Cookie Monster. I want to thank Senator Drew Eccles, a.k.a. Farmer Drew, for that interview. Well, let's meet another senator. In the studio is Senator Rashawn Kemp of Atlanta. His committees include Agriculture and Consumer Affairs, Education and Youth, and Government Oversight. Welcome to Lawmakers.
Thank you, Donna.
I appreciate that.
Here.
So what do you think of the session so far?
It's been interesting. You know, we started out hot and they continue to be hot, but behind the scenes is really collegial, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, I know you're an educator. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I'm a former educator. I was a high school principal. I became a principal at the age of 27 in Ohio before moving down here and getting to education advocacy work.
Okay, so tell us what that kind of stuff is now.
Yeah, so I still work in supporting charter schools founded and led by leaders of color, the National Charter Collaborative, and we just make sure that they have everything that they need to be successful and making sure we're leveling the playing field even in that educational space.
Okay, so with your education priorities, I know that you are a chief sponsor of SB 93, the Georgia Early Literacy Act. It's bipartisan legislation. So you want to prohibit the 3Qing system in Georgia's instructional materials. What is 3Qing for people who don't understand that?
Thank you so much for asking that, for this opportunity. 3Qing is pretty much a system in which we were teaching children how to read, and it's now been found to be very flawed and not successful in accomplishing that goal. And now we all know about the science of reading, and pretty much we've found that we need to get back to the basics and teaching kids phonics learning. So teaching them to decode words. And what 3Qing does is pretty much teaches kids to guess words, either by looking at the picture or looking at the context of a sentence, versus giving them the tools to be successful when those pictures are no longer in those books.
So they kind of sound it out and all. And what are the 3 Qs? Do you remember right off? I can't remember right off the top of my head. And I covered education for a number of years.
Yeah. So pictures, syntax, or, I can't think of the third one right off the top, but yeah.
That's okay. We'll have people look that up.
That's all right. We're going to get rid of it anyway.
That's it. Let's talk a little bit about some of your other priorities.
Yeah, so affordable housing is something I'm really passionate about, and today I signed on to a bill that's going to be introduced by Senator James that hopefully allows local municipalities to implement rent control. Housing is just too expensive for so many people in this state, and also health care. We have 500,000 people that could have access to health care if we expanded Medicaid, so that's an important priority to me as well.
So just the one bill so far. But you've signed on to some others.
I've signed on to a lot of other bills. School safety is something I'm really passionate about. As a former principal, I had a student that brought a gun to school, so I really support Senator Emanuel Jones' bill to make sure the schools are transferring information as it relates to threats and concerns about students in their buildings.
And safe storage for firearms.
Absolutely. One of the most common things that we have with any, school incident is usually has to do with a gun, and we need to do more to keep guns out of the hands of kids, and having sensible laws like safe storage, I think, only makes sense, and it will keep all of us safe.
Okay. Now, I talked about fun. You weren't on Sesame Street, but I'm asking you all about fun things that people might know. You were on HGTV with your family. Tell us about that.
I was, and Senator Eccles is not going to live this down. I cannot wait to get into the chamber tomorrow.
He did such a good job.
He did a good job, but I'm going to be chatting with Farmer Drew. Yeah, my husband and my family, we were on House Hunters recently purchasing our home. It was a fun experience. It really highlighted the fact that, I'm the spender in the family. My husband is the more sensible and controlling when it comes to our finances, but I think we found the house that is the right house for us to grow our family and have our kids playing around and having a good time.
So you enjoyed that experience.
It was
so
great.
Coming here was nothing compared to what you did with that.
Well, I don't know. You're good. You might have some tough questions. Let's see.
So you're feeling really good about this experience, and we're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
We've talked to you and find out how your bill goes, especially since it's bipartisan.
Absolutely.
Looks
got
good.
a chairman to sign on it, too.
All right. Ooh, sounds good. We'll keep up with it. Thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate that. Well, coming up, we meet members of the other chamber. We get to know 2 of the 18 newcomers in the Georgia House, including one who is the first Georgia legislator born in this millennium. You're watching Lawmakers on GPB.
Georgia Farm Bureau, a grassroots organization dedicated to preserving Georgia agriculture. Farm Bureau advocates for all Georgia farmers at the state capitol during the session and year-round. Georgia Farm Bureau, the voice of Georgia farmers.
It's good to have everyone back together.
Good news indeed.
Put your feet up a minute.
It's beautiful.
How does that sound, being man?
It's what I love doing.
Cup of tea.
I was thinking more double whiskey.
Freshly baked biscuits, always.
Well, this is all proving rather cozy, isn't it?
Understanding the past gives a sense of the future. This is the first time that anyone has seen this in 2,000 years.
This is amazing.
Well, I'm excited now.
Pompeii is a battle against time.
You think I'm joking, but look at this. It did really happen.
Don't let anybody tell you who you are.
History teaches us to honor the past.
When you look back, you're like, wow, that was pretty special.
This is something that's actually altering the course of history.
You're charged with keeping these stories alive.
Welcome back to Lawmakers. I'm Donna Lowry. More introductions now of the freshman class of the legislators under the Gold Dome. They come from all over the state and are excited for the chance to make a difference through their work at the Capitol. Two of them join us in the studio right now. First, Democratic Representative Bryce Berry of Atlanta. His committee assignments are economic development and tourism, information and audits, and state planning and community affairs. And Democratic Representative Gabriel Sanchez of Smyrna. He's on the Budget and Fiscal Affairs Oversight and Governmental Affairs and Interstate Cooperation Committees. Not bad committees.
Yeah.
Welcome to Lawmakers, both of you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you
for
so
joining
much.
us here. So let's start with you.
Okay.
You're a middle school teacher.
I am.
And you're with us. Tell us what you teach and why you got into it.
I'm a 7th grade math teacher, and that's my whole reason why, with my students. You know, I have students whose families work 2-3 jobs to make ends meet, students who don't have health care, and, you know, I look at their situations, I cannot sit back and say I can't fight for them. And I'm a believer that every single child in the state of Georgia deserves a champion. And so I'm one of the first active teachers in the State House, along with Makia McQueen, who's another freshman with us. And they're fighting for students every single day, and that's why I got in this race.
Yeah, so you have 7th grade math students at Young Middle School in Atlanta.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I think, I'm curious, how do you get time off from teaching?
Well, it is a leave of absence I've taken, but I do still make lessons, and I'm very much still active in my kids' educations. I go there on Fridays, I go there sometimes after sessions, I make lessons at night. The key is you don't sleep. You make lessons at nighttime, you record your lessons, you got to do what you got to do to ensure that my kids are still learning, and they know I'm still there for them.
No, I love that. I love that. And that they're probably watching you maybe, or keeping an idea of what you're doing.
They very much do.
They miss you.
They do.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. All right, let's get it with you. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I'm a son of Colombian immigrants, born and raised here in Georgia. And actually, Bryce and I are the first 2 Gen Z legislators in Georgia's history, so we're very excited about that to represent our generation and the people of Georgia. And, you know, I grew up wanting to be a filmmaker, actually, and went to school for film. But I've always had a passion for wanting to help my community. I have a huge family of over 80 relatives that live in the Metro Atlanta area. And so, you know, it's always been a passion of wanting to, you know, be in the community. And I never thought of myself here, to be frank, but, you know, after working in local politics here and seeing how much change we need in our communities and how much help people need, I realized I really needed to step up and have a voice for our community.
How do you think the session's been going so far?
Oh, it's been quite, they call it, getting the fire hose for a reason. There's so much information coming in, but I think we're learning a lot, and we're getting into the groove, and we're ready to, get some things done for the people of Georgia.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about I didn't ask you how you think things are going so far. Are you ready to run away?
No, not yet. Not yet. It's been a great experience so far, and I love making relationships. I love meeting people. It's been really good, and getting to know people's common values and our shared interests about why we're all down there is really interesting, and I love meeting my colleagues and getting to know them and getting ready to work with them.
Well, I just want to say, you guys think things are fast now and a lot's coming at you. Whoa, we got a few weeks to go before you really see it.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to talk to you about something. You're a democratic socialist. Yep. Tell people what that means to you.
So what that means to me is that we have an economy that actually works for working people and is centered around working people, right? Because a lot of times what you see in government is a lot of the bills and policies that end up getting passed is heavily influenced by the people, the top 1% and the major corporations. And so what I want to do is balance the scales to where we actually have a government that actually represents the people. That's why, my main platform is housing, healthcare, and economy for all. It means that housing is a human right, healthcare is a human right, and that means we should have an economy centered around working people.
How do people respond to you who don't understand what democratic socialist means?
Well, they listen to, they listen to what I have to say. And, we talk to our community about that all the time. And a lot of people, even if they don't, identify as a socialist, they really do resonate with our message about helping people and representing people in the right way, which is why, one of the main things we did when I was campaigning was not take any corporate PAC money, because we want to make sure that we're actually representing people, not corporations.
Okay. Let's turn to you now. You said you ran for office for your students, right?
Correct, yes.
Are there certain areas that you really want to focus on with them?
Well, of course, education will be my top goal. And, there's several things we got to tackle. School safety is the main one. After the Appalachia shooting last year, how can school safety not be the top priority for any legislator? And so we need true solutions to gun violence in the state, true solutions to campus safety in the state. And that's not half measures or compromises. That means we need to ban assault weapons. That means we need universal background checks and safe storage and waiting periods. We also tackle issues like school infrastructure. There are schools that don't have HVAC systems, where they don't have digital infrastructure. We need to full-scale audit of our school infrastructure needs and make sure that we are correctly implementing SPLOST in some counties, but also make sure that we are building schools in safe and durable standards. And my final priority would be, as Gabe said, Rashawn said, literacy. We have to teach folks how to read the science of reading. And, it is not just an issue from kindergarten through third grade, but it's also an issue that goes beyond third grade. And we have to focus, when we talk about literacy, talk about adult literacy as well, and literacy in high school as well.
Okay. Have you signed on to any bills at this point?
Yeah, I signed up to Representative Michelle Al's safe storage bill, because I also very much am a huge advocate for, gun reform, because, we've been having school shootings since I was, 2 years old, like major school shootings in the modern era, and we haven't really done anything to fix it almost my entire life. And so it's time that we make big changes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you, Representative Berry, you've signed on to Representative Ahmadi Holly's bill to extend the legislative sessions to a maximum of 90 days.
Yeah, sorry to my colleagues about that one.
Right. So that would affect us here on Lawmakers. No. Tell us why you want this.
Well, I've long said we need a full-time legislator. Gabe gave me this. We have a part-time legislator for full-time problems. Georgia's problems don't end after 40 days, so why should we? We need a legislator that is active and responsive to the people of Georgia, and that means we have to be working 365.
Yeah. So you've seen the way the process works now.
Yes.
You see that expanding over 90 days instead of 40?
I'm that committed to the job, I guess you could say.
All right.
Yeah,
so
you're
ready to work that long too?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you think that you guys would do during that time? I don't know. So.
Well, hopefully we can tackle more bills that actually help the people of Georgia.
Okay.
Well, and I think it's a huge issue as well that we see a lot of times where legislators have to go back to bills that we did pass previously. They're like, oh, well, we didn't realize it would have this impact, because we're all tired and stressed out because we're trying to put all these things into 40 days. Why not have more time to actually flesh out these ideas and actually think through our legislation before we pass it?
I'm still waiting to hear what you guys are going to say closer to sine die, when things are just flying all over the place.
Yes,
and so
like on day 29.
That's it. We'll see how things are going. You're both young. We mentioned that you were born in this millennium, the first to come in. You're young in here. So what kind of reaction are you getting from people, from not only constituents, but down at the Capitol.
Actually, my greatest voter base was senior citizens. They love the fact that they had a 23-year-old legislator. I think people are ready for change. People are ready for something new. And what's more new than a 23-year-old teacher in our state legislature? And so folks have bought into this campaign. They bought into the energy that I brought to the campaign. They bought into the energy I bring to the State House. You know, you get the folks in the State House, they'll make jokes about you, my age, of course. But at the end of the day, every single person in the state legislature is like me, responsive to the voters. And so no matter how old you are, we got to go back to the home, to our voters, and talk to them about what we're doing down there.
Okay, and what about you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think that it's been definitely a big, you know, adjustment, because I actually used to work as a legislative aide for a couple of the legislators in the Capitol. So, you know, I was on the other side of things, and I got to learn a little bit through that. But it's definitely different being on this side of things. And, you know, I think, you know, you definitely have to work with your colleagues and, you know, earn that respect and build those relationships with people. And that's what we're working on. And I'm looking forward to working with whoever it is to do the issues that we need to make the change we want to see in Georgia.
Okay, so I asked the previous guests about something interesting they'd like to tell. I'd like to hear from either one of you. So anything?
My thing is I love to cook. I love to cook.
You do?
I love to grill. I love to bake, even though I hate sweets.
Okay.
I love to cook, period. And to my girlfriend, hi Tyler, by the way.
Okay, got that in.
You know, I told you I had to get that in. To my girlfriend, you know, we're still like learning the process for her. And so like me, she just lets me cook, and I loved cooking.
Okay, so cooking is your thing. Any special dish?
Anything. Just
okay.
give me a recipe, I'll make it.
I expect you to bring something down to the Capitol. You haven't been there for the days when the food is coming in.
Come to my office.
All righty. I'm gonna keep you. I'm gonna do that. What about you?
Yeah, well, going with the theme with some of the senators, I actually, you know, worked in the film industry and, you know, wanted to be a filmmaker growing up. And so, you know, I've actually had the pleasure of working on some big sets, including the Spider-Man Homecoming set. So, you know, I got to meet Zendaya and Tom Holland and stuff like that. So that's always an amazing time. And, you know, I really look up to both of them. So it's really cool to be on set and be able to meet so many interesting people in the film industry.
Oh, so, I love that.
Yeah.
At your ages coming down here, I'd like to ask about your hopes for the future. What do you hope would happen?
I'm just hopeful we don't let the fights get to us, and we just work together in a bipartisan manner to get good things done. I believe that good people and a good government can do good things, and so if we just all come together just do good, I'm hopeful for that.
How difficult was it to get the bipartisan support of your bill?
Well, I'm still working in progress.
And yeah.
So but you
do have some.
I do have some, and it's just conversations. Folks, you know, it's not a fierce battle of Democrat versus Republican. The folks are receptive, and they ultimately care about the things that I care about. It's just how we do it. And so you just have conversations with folks, and folks will buy in. And that's why I'm happy that I hopefully will have some bipartisan bills down the hopper soon.
Right. So, yeah, Representative Hawley's bill, I should say. So you're not getting people who are saying, I don't want to be here for 90 days. So you're not getting that.
You have to know about that one.
All righty. What about you? What are some things you hope for?
I'm very hopeful. I'm very inspired, honestly, by the amount of people in, you know, my constituency and all across Georgia who are ready to fight for our communities. You know, there's a lot of scary things happening right now, and I think I've actually been very inspired by people stepping up to try to protect their neighbors and their fellow, you know, men and women in our communities, because, you know, obviously when it comes to hard times, you have to come together as a community to help each other out.
I should ask you real quick, you're involved in some of the immigration legislation, or do you expect any legislation involving immigration to come out?
There has been introduced legislation on both sides, and so I'm going to be working on some legislation myself as well to do everything we can to protect our community, and looking forward to doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you both coming on. It was good to get to know you.
Yeah, thank you.
And I hope you'll come back.
We definitely will.
All right. That does it for Lawmakers today. We'll be back tomorrow when I'll have a one-on-one interview with Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. Have a great night.